Friends and viewers, Alexander Duma, a well-known French writer, is well known about his novel The Three Musketeers, and above all, he is well known also for his The Count of Monte Cristo. And today we are going to discuss about the same, The Count of Monte Cristo. It is published in 1844. So let me tell you about this novel. The Count of Monte Cristo is an adventure novel by the French writer Alexander Duma, originally published in a serial form between 1844 and 1846, which is reflected in the novel's episodic structure, large characters and frequent shift of scene. Novel has been translated into English several times. So the source, the contents and material which taken about this novel is the material societal ideation, murder, language and attitude, drug use, Orientalism. So this, and let me tell you how this novel starts. The novel follows a hero, Edmond Dantes, who transformed himself into the Count of Count of Monte Cristo, to enact revenge on the three men responsible for sending him to prison and preventing his marriage to Mercedes Herrera. At 19, Edmond, a sailor from Marseilles, is about to be promoted to captain by his employer M. Morel and marry his fiancée Mercedes. Because of this, Edmund incurs the jealousy of the danglers, the purser on his ship, the Fair and the Fernando Mondego, a distant cousin of Mercedes, who is in love with her. The two write an enormous letter to the authorities denouncing Edmund as a Bonapartist conspirator, a claim based on Edmund's stop at the island of Elba at the request of the dying captain of the Pharaon, and Edmund's possession of a letter from Napoleon. This part of novel takes place in early spring of 1815, in the days leading to Napoleon's return from Elba. Edmund does not know about this conspiracy, but Villefort, the young assistant prosecutor examining him, discovered that the letter is addressed to Villefort's father, Noirtier, a prominent supporter of Napoleon. Villefort, about to marry into a royalist family of great wealth, cannot afford to have his family linked to a Bonaparte plot. To ensure no one ever learns of the letter, he arranged for Edmund to be imprisoned for life in the Château d'If. If a notorious prison it is a notorious prison on an island in the harbor of Marseilles. During his imprisonment at the Château d'If, Edmund is befriended by a fellow prisoner, Abbe Feria, who tunnels into Edmund's cell while attempting to escape. Over the years, Feria educates Edmund, especially in language and the operation of drugs and poisons. He also shares with Edmund the secret of treasure buried on the island of Monte Cristo centuries before a Roman cardinal killed by the Borgias. He further helps Edmund ascertain those responsible for his imprisonment. When Faria dies, Edmund takes the place of Faria's corpse and is thrown into the sea. Rescued by Italian smuggler, he goes to the island of Monte Cristo and finds the treasure. Now wealthy and well-traveled, Edmund adopts the title of Count of Monte Cristo and devotes himself to rewarding those loyal to him and taking revenge on those who wronged him. Disguised an Italian priest, died of hunger. He learns from the Caderizo, an old neighbor, that his elderly father died of hunger, despite the charity of M. Morel, and that Mercedes eventually agreed to marry Fernand. who achieved success as a soldier and now lives in Paris as the Count de Morcerf. Danglars, a wealthy banker who also lives in Paris, and does Villefort, who is now an important prosecutor. Monte Cristo first applies himself to rescuing the business of his old employer M. Morel, who has suffered for his public support of Bonaparte's prison. In doing so, Monte Cristo makes use of another fictional persona. He will turn to again an English aristocrat working on behalf of Roman Bank, Thomson, and French. A few years later in Rome, Monte Cristo befriends Albert de Morcarf, son of Mercedes and Fernand, and his friend Franz de Epini. When Albert is kidnapped by Luca Vampa, a smuggler and friend of Monte Cristo arranges Albert's release and in exchange asks Albert to introduce him into Parisian society. Upon Albert's introduction, the only one who recognizes Monte Cristo is Edmond Dantes Mercedes, who tells no one. Fernand is a close associate of Danglars, and Albert is expected to marry Danglars' daughter, Eugene. Despite neither one's desire to do so, Monte Cristo has also learned that before her marriage to Danglars, Mademoiselle Danglars was Villefort's lover, who Villefort concealed in a house in the Parisian suburb of Auteuil. When she became pregnant, Villefort attempted to bury the baby in the garden of the house in Auteuil. He was attacked while doing so by a Corsican smuggler, Bertuccio, who was avenging Villefort's refusal to investigate his brother's murder. In the present, Bertuccio became Monte Cristo's most trusted servant. After Monte Cristo rents the house in Auteuil as a part of his planned revenge, Bertuccio confessed that he took the baby boy along with his sister and raised him under the name of Benedetto. In addition to Bertuccio, Monte Cristo household includes Ali, a Nubian servant, and a Heidi, a young Greek woman of mysterious origin, apparently purchased by Monte Cristo as an enslaved woman. Through Albert, Monte Cristo learns that Danglars frequently makes risky trades on financial market based on information provided to his wife by her lover. Lucien Debray, Monte Cristo also makes contact with adult children of M. Morel and becomes the friend of Maximilien Morel, a gallant young soldier. Maximilien is secretly in love with Valentine de Villefort, the daughter of Villefort's first marriage. The Villefort household also includes the second Mademoiselle Villefort, her young son Edouard, and Villefort's father, the Bonapartist Noirier. Now paralyzed and speechless after a stroke, Valentine loves Maximilian, but her father and stepmother have arranged a marriage to Franze de Pini, Albert's friends. Monte Cristo arranged for Danglars to experience a series of financial setbacks. He also encourages Mademoiselle Villefort's interest in poison, and she resents the fact that Valentine, rather than Wood, will inherit the family fortune. He hires two men to play Italian nobleman, father and son. The young man played the son, Andre di Cavalanciti, in effect Benedetto. Villefort and Mademoiselle Danglars' son born outside of marriage, Benedetto Andrew, is a criminal recognized by Cordisio, now himself an escaped convict, having turned to murder theft after his encounter with Monte Cristo. Monte Cristo arranged a dinner party at house in Auteuil, where he reveals enough knowledge of house past to show Villefort and Mademoiselle Danglars that he knows their secret. Monte Cristo also encouraged Danglars to see Andre has a better much for his daughter than Albert, and prompts Danglars to investigate Ferdinand. de Morcerf passed as a mercenary Greece. Meanwhile, Wilford loses both his in-laws for his first marriage to sudden illness. His father, Nortier, uh, uh, prevents Valentine's marriage to France by revealing that he killed France's father in duel many years before. Valentine and Maximilian agree to marry with Nortier's and blessing, but their happiness is interrupted by the illness and death of Barus. Nortier, in long-time servant, the family doctor, tells Wilford that he suspects poison all three deaths, and the poison that killed Borus was intended for Nortier, as Valentine will inherit from all the grandparents. She is the logical support. Carderus, satisfied with his earning from extorting Benedetto, breaks into in Monte Cristo's house in Paris, who has been forewarned by Benedetto and confronts him. Cordus flees but is attacked and stabbed by Benedetto. Just before Cordisio dies, Monte Cristo reveals to him that he is actually Edmond Dantes. Dangler, having followed up on Monte Cristo hints about Morcerf's past, accuses Morcerf of betraying Ali Pasha, his employer in Greece, and selling the Pasha's wife and daughter into slavery. Heidi confronts Morcerf publicly and reveals that she is the Pasha's daughter brought out of enslavement by Monte Cristo.